Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News, broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asserts that Israel will move to eradicate Hamas from its last stronghold in Rafah with or without the United States support. The United States fails to pass a fresh United Nations Security Council resolution which called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza in exchange for the release of all of the 134 hostages. U.S. CENTCOM Commander General Michael Kurilla voices concern over a deepening alliance between Russia, the Islamic Republic of Iran, and China. Israel will move to eradicate the Islamist Hamas terrorist organization from its last stronghold in Rafah, with or without U.S. support. Amid mounting pressure applied on Jerusalem by Washington, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Israel today to double down on the Biden administration's guided policy vis-à-vis the Gaza Strip. Prior to his arrival, Washington's top diplomat met with the leadership of Saudi Arabia and Egypt and held an extensive subsequent meeting with the foreign ministers of the Palestinian Authority, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Egypt to both deliberate and coordinate the Biden administration's aspired path forward.
We had very productive meetings today with President Sisi, with Foreign Minister Shukri, as well as with our colleagues, and I'll come to that in a minute. Over the last 2 days, in my travels to the region, we've met intensively with virtually all of our regional partners from Saudi Arabia, from Egypt, from Jordan, from the UAE, from Qatar, Palestinian Authority. But I very much appreciate the Foreign Minister hosting today's meeting with the Arab foreign ministers. I've been meeting and speaking individually to them over the past several weeks, but it was very good to be together, to have the opportunity to convene as a group, to share views on where we are, where we need to go, and how we can best get there. And there's a clear consensus around a number of shared priorities. First, the need for an immediate, sustained ceasefire with the release of hostages. That would create space to surge more humanitarian assistance, to relieve the suffering of many people, and to build something more enduring. We've been working, as you know, with Egypt, with Qatar, and with Israel to put a strong proposal on the table. Hamas responded to that. The negotiators continue to work. The gaps are narrowing, and we're continuing to push for an agreement in Doha. There's still difficult work to get there, but I continue to believe it's possible.
واتفقنا على استمرار التنسيق فيما بيننا. اتفقنا على أن يجتمع الخبراء في وقت قريب للاتفاق على خطوات ملموسة تتعامل مع قضية زيادة حجم المساعدات، ونتطلع بأن تكون لجهودنا المشتركة أثر في الوقت الراهن. ليس هناك مجال للانتظار، وليس هناك مجال لزيادة حجم المعاناة الإنسانية، وليس هناك مجال لاستمرار الحرب. نحن نأمل بأن نتعدى كل ذلك إلى مرحلة جديدة في المنطقة، بعيدا عن الصراع، بعيدا عن الانتقام، مرحلة ينتهي فيها الصراع على أساس حل الدولتين، إقامة الدولة الفلسطينية على حدود 67 وعاصمتها القدس الشرقية، لتنعم المنطقة وكل شعوبها الفلسطينيين الإسرائيليين بالأمن والأمان والتعاون وفتح مجالات تستفيد منها شعوب المنطقة أجمع.
In parallel to a coordinated regional Arab approach to the war and the subsequent period, Secretary Blinken addressed a U.S. effort at the United Nations Security Council to pass a resolution that essentially calls for an immediate ceasefire in exchange for the release of all hostages that have been in Hamas captivity for 168 days since the October 7th onslaught.
The ceasefire that we're working on would be the best, most immediate way to enable us to surge humanitarian assistance, but it's not the only way. Regardless, we have to be doing that We've seen some improvement over the last couple of weeks in getting humanitarian assistance to Palestinians, but it's not enough. And as I said, we need to really surge and sustain the assistance across land, across sea, and across air.
It is important to know that during the UN Security Council vote on the U.S. resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in exchange for the release of all 134 hostages in Hamas captivity, Russia and China vetoed the American bid, rendering it mute for the time being. Meanwhile, after a meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the Defense Ministry's headquarters in Tel Aviv, the Israeli leader released a film statement in which he underscored Jerusalem's appreciation of Washington's support in the war effort, while asserting in tandem, however, that Israel will not relent in its pursuit of eradicating the internationally designated terror group Hamas.
נפגשתי היום עם מזכיר המדינה בלינקן. אמרתי לו שאני מאוד מעריך את העובדה שיותר מ5 חודשים אנחנו עומדים יחד במלחמה נגד החמאס. אמרתי לו גם שאנחנו מכירים בצורך לפנות את האוכלוסייה האזרחית מאזורי המלחמה, וכמובן לדאוג גם לצרכים ההומניטריים, אנחנו פועלים לשם כך. אבל גם אמרתי שאין לנו דרך לנצח את החמאס בלי להיכנס לרפיח ולחסל את שארית הגדודים שם. ואמרתי לו שאני מקווה שנעשה את זה בתמיכה של ארצות הברית, אבל אם נצטרך, נעשה זאת לבד.
Earlier, during a tour of Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant at an IDF intelligence gathering unit, Jerusalem's top defense official emphasized that there will be no compromise in this war.
כוחות פועלים עכשיו במרחב של ח'אן יונס, פועלים גם במרחב של שיפה. תקפנו ברפיח עם הצלחות מאוד גדולות נגד מפקדי משנה בארגונים של החמאס, ויש הישגים מאוד מאוד מרשימים בפעולה בשיפה, שהייתה פעולה מפתיעה. אף אחד לא ציפה שנעשה את מה שעשינו, הייתה הסתערות אל מקום שלפני חצי שנה לקח לנו חודש להגיע. עכשיו עשינו את זה בפעולת בזק של כוחות קומנדו עם כוחות חי"ר, ולאחר מכן כוחות כבדים. תוך שעות, תוך דקות הם התייצבו בנקודה, לחדו את המחבלים. עכשיו מתעסקים לראות את עתידם, או שיקנו או שימותו בעמדות שלהם, לחסל את כולם, אחד אחד. אין פשרות במלחמה הזאת.
The remarks by Defense Minister Gallant were made as the IDF continues to encircle Shifa Hospital, where a large group of Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad terror operatives are barricading themselves in the medical facility's emergency room, refusing to confront their inevitable fate.
הלחימה ממשיכה בתוך בתי החולים, בתוך המבנים בבית החולים. ישנם מחבלי חמאס וג'יהאד אסלאמי שהחליטו להתבצר. הם מתבצרים כרגע באזור מבנה חדר המיון. אנחנו בשלב הזה מפנים את החולים, יש שם כ-220 חולים, למבנה אחר. אנחנו מייצרים להם תשתיות עם ציוד רפואי הולם, שכל החולים והרופאים יוכלו להיות בטוחים. אנחנו ממשיכים לקרוא כל היממה האחרונה למחבלים שנמצאים במבנה להיכנע. מי שייכנע יישאר בחיים, מי שלא, אנחנו ניכנס ונלחם בו עד שנהרוג אותו.
It is important to stress that while ongoing negotiations for a viable hostage release deal remains on the agenda, prospects for a tangible breakthrough remain out of sight. Turning to Washington, where the House Committee on Middle East and Africa held a periodic hearing, during the course of which U.S. CENTCOM Commander General Michael Kurilla voiced concern over the deepening relations between Russia, Iran, and China across the board, including in the Middle East in particular.
I am very concerned about this new relationship between Russia, China, and Iran. What we see is Iran is reliant on China and Russia is reliant on Iran. Iran sells 90% of its oil, all U.S. sanctioned, to China. So in effect, China is funding Iran's subversive and malign behavior in the region. Iran went from hundreds to now thousands of one-way attack, unmanned aerial systems, suicide drones that they are providing to Russia. They were providing them both complete systems, and they've built a factory for Russia to now produce them themselves, still relying on a supply chain, and they're now doing over 100 one-way attack drones a week in Ukraine. What I can talk in a classified setting is what Russia can provide in return back to Iran, which is concerning. We're also seeing China, which gets 50% of its oil from the Middle East, what they are doing in the Middle East to advance their elements of national power, diplomatic, informational, military, and economic.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. It is important for us to highlight that TV7 Israel is a donation-based non-profit ministry with all of our productions available free of charge. Therefore, if you're blessed by our programs and would like to help support sustaining them, we would appreciate it if you'd consider making a donation. You can do so by visiting our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Separately, I'd like to encourage you, pray for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hessen, wishing you a Shabbat Shalom u'Mevorach, and God willing, we'll see you during our upcoming TV7 Israel updates. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.